Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Linda Sue Plants for You. Today I'm going to be doing a couple of things. I've got two plants that I would like to repot, and I also have three new plants that I purchased over the weekend, last weekend, and we'll talk about those in a little bit. Okay, so to start with, I have my big tub, which houses my soil mixture, and in here I have whatever potting mix I can get. I usually end up with Miracle-Gro. In addition, I add some cocoa coir and quite a bit of perlite. I want to say equal parts, but it's probably a little more potting mix, and not to be confused with potting soil. At my garden center they sell both, and the potting soil is a much heavier dirt, whereas the potting mix is a much lighter, more airy type mixture. And then, like I said, sometimes I'll add a little bark. It depends on the plant. I've also been known to add charcoal, and again, that really just depends on what the plant likes best. But for today, we're going to use what I have here. I like to keep it in this tub because I pour it in when it's outside, and then I bring it in the tub and let it dry out. And that helps to avoid fungus gnats as well, because as we all know, for some reason, there has been an influx of those things. I don't know, years ago, we never even heard of fungus gnats, and I've been raising houseplants for my whole life, and I never even saw fungus gnat years ago. So not sure why that is, but it is what it is, so we just have to deal with it. I'm going to do a separate video on that one of these days. But for today, I'm going to try my hand at videotaping my repotting. So bear with me, because I have not done this before on camera, so I'm hoping that I have a good view here and you'll be able to see what I'm doing. As I said, I have this big black tub with my soil mixture, and then in here I have an extra bowl, and I use this to empty whatever it is that I'm repotting, because I don't want this soil to get into this soil. Now for this plant, I know that the soil is good on here because I just repotted it not too long ago. But I need to get it into a little bigger pot, and that is what I'm going to do today. I have it in this, this is the vessel that I'm housing the plant in. My husband found this and brought it home for me. The problem is it's very long and narrow, so it's kind of hard to find a pot to fit in there. But I did, and in addition to that, I found a cup from my coffee place, and I'm going to, that does fit in there just fine, and it doesn't fall through. And it is a little bit bigger than what I have it in. So that's what I'm going to do today. You should see that there are holes on the bottom of this cup that I cut. And it's something very interesting. I actually attempted to drill. I usually drill my holes, and you know, it would not go through this cup. It just kept the cup kept collapsing on me. I couldn't get enough pressure on it. So I used the side cutters, and that worked just fine. So I have drainage holes all along the bottom. Be careful when you use containers that are not actual pots. And the reason for that is on the bottom of most cups or containers, there's 2 levels of a bottom. The middle part, this part, is oftentimes higher than the outside. And if you poke your holes in this middle part, it takes a lot longer for that water to get drained out. So you want to always make sure that you are putting your holes in the lowest part of the bottom of that cup. Okay, so let's get started. Get this out of my way. This plant is a silver lace fern. And when I bought it, it looked okay, and I knew it needed to be repotted because of the condition that the soil was and what have you. So I did repot it, and when I took it out, I saw that it had one of those mesh plugs, which was embedded in the roots. I got off as much as I could of it at that time, and now I'm going to make sure that there is no more on there and see what I can do to clean this up. I have several of these plants, and the other ones are in a bigger pot and they're doing very well. This one needs a little help here. I've got some good growth on it, but it's still struggling. So I'm going to see if repotting it will help. Okay? I don't know if you can see how that looks in there. Yeah, it looks sad. So here we go. We're going to take this out. I'm going to squeeze the pot, and we're going to take it out. And as you can see, it's got a good root system on it. I don't think there's any mesh left in there. I'm going to go through it a little bit and just make sure. Yeah, but I can still feel some of that stuff. Boy. You know, for the growers out there, if you're ever watching these videos, I'm sure I'm not alone when I say we really wish you would stop using those. I know they're supposed to be biodegradable, but oftentimes they don't do what they're meant to do. And it really does harm the plant. Okay, we're gonna I don't want to disrupt the roots too bad here, so we're gonna take off some of the dead, dried up stuff. And I am going to, I know I said a few minutes ago I'm going to reuse the soil, but now that I'm looking at it, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to give it fresh soil because I don't like the way it looks either. I think it needs a little more perlite, and let's see if we can get this dead stuff off of here. And by the way, I hope you can hear me okay. I'm normally standing right next to my camera, and I'm a little bit away from it today, so I hope the volume is alright. I always say turn the volume all the way up and give us the opportunity to turn it down if it's too loud, because for those of us that are having problems with our hearing, and I'm one of them, it's just sad because there's been a number of videos that I would have loved to watch, and I struggled. I mean, I couldn't even make out what they said. It was so soft, and it's no fun to watch a video that you can't understand what people are saying. So anyways, here we go. I got most of the yucky stuff off of there. There's still a few dead leaves, but I think I'm just going to leave those for now. I don't know, what do you think? I think that looks pretty good. And here we go. Make sure I got the right one. I'm going to put a little soil in here. By the way, my plant friends, let me know how you like putting your hands in the soil. I personally love that feeling. I was just telling my hubby last night how when I was a kid, I used to love playing with my brother because they would play army men and stuff. That was back in the day when all the kids played outside until it was dark, and then our parents had to beg us to come in, take a bath, and go to bed. But I just loved getting dirty, and I loved the feeling of my hands in soil, and I still do. So I don't often use tools when I'm doing this. Sometimes I have to, depending on the plant, because I can't get my hand in there, but for the most part, I just love the feeling of that soil on my hands. Okay, I think that's pretty good. Put a little extra in here because we know that that's going to settle after it's watered, and it needs water right now. And then I guess, the school of thought is some people will say to water your plants the day before you transplant them, and others will say don't do that, and I don't know that it makes a difference. I think in my experience, the only time that really matters is what is the soil like when you get it home or when you're getting ready to repot it. If the soil is really damp when you take it out of the old vessel and you're putting it in a new pot, depending on what kind of plant it is, you may or may not want to add more water to it. You might want to just let it rest for a day or two. And then also with cacti and most succulents, depending on how much water is in the plant, if you transplant it and then you soak it down with water, if it doesn't need water, you can very easily cause root rot. So it's not an overall, cut and dry thing. I think we have to take it plant by plant, and for this plant, it was very, very dry, and I just watered it yesterday, so I knew it had to get into a bigger pot. So we're going to see how this goes. And like I said, this is I'm pretty sure that we're going to be okay here, that this is going to survive and thrive now that it's in a little bigger space, but we'll see. And I'll show you that in its vessel when we're all done here. The other plant that I want to repot today is my Hoya carnosa Crimson Princess. It's the first Hoya that I purchased. It's the only Hoya that I own. Thanks to all my YouTube friends out there, you have really sparked my interest in the Hoya family. And this was at a garden center. I was going there for a different reason, and I spotted this on the way out, and it was in a little tiny pot. I want to say like a 2-inch pot, and it looked like it was half dead, and it was, I don't know, I think the sale price on it was like $2 or $3, and I thought, you know what, for that price I'm going to take this home. I really liked the red that was on top of the plant. And it has grown. It has tripled in size. I've had this plant for maybe a month, about maybe 5-6 weeks, something like that. And it's grown a lot. So it's a fast grower. And I had this one in this pot. This pot I got from a thrift store, from the Goodwill actually, I believe it was. And I just fell in love with it. And my husband drilled a hole in the bottom, a drainage hole. For those of you that don't know, and maybe you can do it with regular drills, but he cracked a few trying to use a regular drill, and he finally went out and just spent the 12, 14 bucks on the diamond bit drill, and we haven't had a problem since. And I believe you have to put water on that too. I've never actually saw him doing that. He takes it out in the garage. Maybe one of these days I'll film that for you in case somebody, well, if you request it, I will do that. How does that sound? Okay, so here's the pot, and this is the drainage, the drip tray. I got this at Stein's for, I think it was $1.99, which is a lot. That's a lot. I don't think the pot that went with this was that much. But I needed something to put under here, and I couldn't find anything that I liked the way it looked. So I ended up getting this. The vessel I'm using is an old sour cream container from Kroger's. And again, I cut off the the edges for drainage. And it fits perfectly in the top of here. So it's going from, well, let's take this out of here. The dark pot on the outside here also fit in that vessel, so that's what I was using to hold this pot. So we're going to get rid of that. And then you can see the difference. There's not a whole lot, but this one is bigger than this one. And my understanding of Hoyas is that they like to be a little snug in their pots, so we don't want to go too big. When it outgrows this pot, I'm going to have to use the larger, maybe cottage cheese container, because it's got the same rim size, so it'll still fit in my wonderful little pot that I bought. But it'll be longer, so it'll give me more room for the roots. So I'm hoping I can keep this in this pot for a very long time. Alright, so getting on with this. We're going to squeeze the pot, take it out. And this soil looks better, doesn't it? You can see the the structure of the soil. So I don't think we need to do anything with that. I'm not going to break that apart. We'll take a little bit off the top. I usually do that just in case there's any fungus gnat eggs ready to hatch. And again, if you notice, I am putting that in this green container because this is going to get dumped out when I'm done. Okay. Oh, maybe a little too much. Perfect. And I'm gently pushing it down around the edges where there was a void in this, so we don't have air pockets and end up with roots that aren't getting any water. I'm not pressing hard. I'm pressing very, very gently. Ray from the Voodoo Garden, and I don't know how many of you watch his channel, and if you don't, you should. He's got a really wonderful channel. And he had mentioned one time for people who don't know, it's kind of hard to say, you know, what is hard to one person might not be too hard to another. And he came up with a good trick to use, which I thought was kind of clever. And he said, take your finger and close your eyes and press your finger against your eyeball and put a little pressure on it, and when it starts to hurt, that's too much. So that's the same pressure that you're supposed to use when you're putting your packing your soil in around your plants. And that seems to be pretty accurate. So maybe you want to try that. All right, I think we're pretty good on here. Now this one was a little bit damp on the old soil, so I'm probably going to give this till tomorrow before I water it. Because I know that Hoyas do not like to have wet roots. So for that reason, I am not going to water this today. So we'll check back at another time and see how this is going. And I'm going to move this out of the way. So there's that one. And there's that one. You can see a little bit the rim around, but once that plant gets going and starts cascading over the side, you won't even notice that. So I don't know. What do you think? Do you like it? Did I do good? I'd love to hear from you. Okay, and the next thing I wanted to do is just show you the idea that I have for my bathroom. My husband and I have been talking about it, and I have a very small bathroom. And I wanted to get some plants in there, but I don't have any natural light. We have a complete tub enclosure that only the front of it is open. It's one piece, which is wonderful because it can never rot. We don't have any moisture problems or water problems, but we had to take the window out to put that in, so I don't have any natural light in there. And then we realized that we have 3 light switches in that room, and one of those lights we never use. So I said, well, how about if we get an LED light and put it in there, and because it's LED and it doesn't take up a lot of energy, I can leave it on all day, and let's try that. So that's what we're going to do. We actually have a leak behind our plumbing that we have to address. We're going to do that this weekend. My husband's going to do that part, and then I'm going to clean up the mess afterwards, because that'll be my job. And then I'm going to put my new plants in there and see how they do with that LED light. So we'll do an update on that. But I did bring the plants. I want to show them to you. Of course, my ZZ plant. Now I just purchased these next 3 plants I'm going to show you. I just got last weekend at Lowe's hardware store. Or it's a big box store for those of you if you don't have a Lowe's by you. And this is really in good shape. I mean, it's in good condition. And the price was $10.98, which I thought was a good price. There's a lot of babies and new growth in there. So I'm going to try that one. And this one. And this is the Janet Craig. And this one was only $6.98. So we're going to try it. Wish me luck. And those two are going to go into this vessel on the back of our commode. I don't know if you can see that. I want to show you. It's just a little, I believe that inside of this is probably plastic. And then this is cloth. And then inside I put two drip trays. Your normal. So that's, these plants will go in here. Like so. And this basket was only $4.98. So this is going to be an addition to my bathroom, hopefully after tomorrow. And this one I purchased. I don't think I'm going to be putting this one in the bathroom because I really don't think that's going to be enough light. This is my strawberry begonia. And I know, I'm aware that it's not actually a begonia. And I forget the botanical name. I have another one that you can see on, I believe it was maybe my second last video. When I bought that one, the leaves were... most of them were about this size, and I want to say that's maybe an inch. And it was waterlogged. It was in really bad shape. I brought it home. I repotted it. I cleaned it up, and it's growing. It is growing leaps and bounds. I mean, I have to actually do something with it other than where it's at because it's starting to trail down into my plants that are below it. So I'm not sure where I'm going to put this one yet. This one too has to be repotted, but this is going to take me a while, and I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with this yet. So I won't be videotaping that for you today, but I will be picking out another hanging plant for my bathroom. I do have an asparagus spring rye that I'd like to put in there because they love high moisture, but there's not much to it, so I'm not sure if I'm going to use that or not. But at any rate, that's going to wrap it up for today. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope I didn't do too bad at the filming. As I said, it's the first time that I'm not really holding the camera in my hand, so kind of new at that. But this is what we have. So I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Stay tuned because I do believe that I'm going to be doing another video before the weekend is up. I want to do a video on the tools that I use, the water that I use, the food, all those fun little details that help the plants grow successfully. So watch for that. It'll be coming soon. And in the meantime, like I said, I hope you all enjoy your weekend. I know I'm going to enjoy the sunshine. It's the first sunshine we've had in days. And that always makes everybody happy. So, all right. So you all have a good day. Thank you very much for tuning in. Oh, and by the way, if you don't mind subscribing, if you want to see more of my videos in the future, that would be great. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up. And if you want to be notified of future videos, hit the notification bell. Okay, so alrighty, bye now.